Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you watch my channel, you may know that I was looking for a vintage or authentic Martin for a while, and I recently acquired one, and I want to give you the story, not just a demo and review, but also the story of how I got this guitar. I think it's really interesting. First of all, I'm a big fan of Martin guitar and other acoustic guitars too, but I've spent the last kind of 7 or 8 years looking for a great sounding Martin, and I've kind of found it in the HD28 standard series, the OM28. If you watch the channel, you'll know that I love those guitars. They're great, and I've played other great Martins too. A while ago, I played an authentic D28 that I really liked at a trade show, and that kind of got me into thinking about looking for actual vintage Martins. So I went to some stores in Nashville and played some. I played one which was fantastic, but it was really, really expensive. So it got me into thinking about these authentics. They are expensive, don't get me wrong, they're very expensive. But what you get is something that is very close to those vintage guitars. Now, they're not as old, they haven't got the history and the story, but they are made of similar materials that many people say are very important to that golden era Martin sound. So recently I had Jeremy the Guitar Hunter on my Monday show. I do a live stream on Mondays and he was the guest. And I told him the story of how I found this guitar at a trade show. Tommy Emmanuel played it, who I love, and I wanted to buy that guitar. I tracked it down and it sold. And then he told me that he'd also found one recently. This was just completely unplanned, a complete coincidence. Of course, that got me thinking, as you can see in the upcoming clip, that maybe I should buy that one. Did I buy that one? Let's find out. Let's roll that clip. It's just 2 minutes long, and it will fill you in with the story so far.
I played a guitar last week at Casino Guitars that I think is my favorite Martin ever, and it's a D8 or a D28 1937 authentic with the aging, like the relicking. I'm like, that's a guitar I would spend $8,000 for.
Don't say that, because I'm looking for one of those at the moment.
Dude, they're
true story.
Dude,
that's a true story.
Yeah, it's a great guitar, but it would be hard to live with because
everyone do not go to that website right now. A quick one about that. I played one for the first time, I think it was at Summer NAMM, and I really liked it. Everyone that watches the channel knows about this story. And then I thought, I really like that guitar. And then Tommy Emmanuel played it. And then I thought, now I've got that connection. Because in the past, I bought new. And buying used to me is quite a new thing. Because, I mean, I can't keep buying new guitars for the channel, right? So I've realized now the benefits of buying used. But then I'm thinking, well, that's now kind of used. But I thought, yeah, but I love it. And Tommy played it, and now I want it. And months went by, and I didn't know where it went to. And then about a month ago, I decided to match the pick guard to some dealers around the web, and I found it. And when I was at Martin, I confirmed that was the same guitar. I thought the stars have aligned, right? I'm sure as a guitar hunter, you would say, yep, there you go. That is the one for you. I went on the website the next day, and it was sold. So what does that mean when you're hunting for a guitar?
Dude.
that means it wasn't the one, I guess. So as you can see, I did buy the guitar. So this is it. I've been teasing it on my channel for a while. I wanted to make a proper video about it. I wanted to get to know it better, to play it. But what I can say about this guitar is it's really proven me wrong about a few things and made me very happy about a few things. Let me tell you what they are. First of all, I wanted the guitar because I wanted that 1937 golden age experience without remortgaging the apartment, right? So that's what you get here. This retails at $8,000, and that's US dollars. So this guitar has really impressed me. First of all, let's get down to some specs, and I want to give you more of my kind of personal feelings about it as someone that's only really played the modern Martins and only played a few vintage Martins. So I wanted something from that golden era. People talk about the 1937 and the golden era of Martin guitars. So this is Madagascar rosewood on the back. You see that lovely grain it's got? Now, I bought this blind. I did look at the pictures on the site. I did watch the videos that they had available. I asked some questions, and I encourage you to do the same. This was a very big purchase. This is probably the most expensive guitar I've ever purchased so far. And I was a bit nervous. I made sure they had a good return policy. I asked some questions about the condition of the guitar, and I watched their videos to hear it. But it's always nerve-wracking, as you know, when you get a guitar out the case you've never played before. When you strum that first chord, is it going to blow you away? This guitar really, honestly did blow me away just instantly. So the top here is Addy Spruce, but it's aged. I like the aged toner. In fact, this whole guitar is aged. So these guitars, without the aging, like a brand new guitar, are $7,000 US. With the aging, they're $8,000. But the aging is really well done. It looks like it came from that time period. I'll give you some examples as we go. But for example, you can see here, there's some scuffs here where your pick might have hit the guitar. There's some scratches on the pick guard as well. And there's a few things. There's actually a rather large ding here. Now, normally, if I bought a new Martin and put a ding in the guitar, like that, I'd be very upset, even though it's not that big and you don't even see it when you're playing. But the interesting thing is, I'm kind of into relics now for a few reasons. One reason is they're already dinged, so you can really kind of get home with the guitar straight away and just play it. I really like that. And also, I do think it adds to something. I mean, when they say the guitar is a replica of a 1937, it's kind of cool that the look of it is from 1937 as well. Now, I know this is a very polarizing subject, so please put your thoughts in the comments below. But hey, this is my review. I like it. I love shiny new Martins as well. I love shiny new guitars in general, but I also really like relics if they're done well. And I think Martin did great with this. The tuners are aged, everything's aged, but the neck is still perfect. Apart from a patch here on the edge, which is where the hand, again, would rub on the edge of the guitar neck. And that's really, really cool because, again, you get that feel, the feel of it being worn in. Okay? So you've got the VTS. I'm not a huge fan of VTS. I feel like it kind of mutes a few frequencies that I like. That's just my opinion based on a few guitars that I've played, or several guitars that I've played over the last few years. But it has the VTS. The sound hole is also slightly worn here where the pick would wear it, things like that. And I believe on these aged guitars, you also get a thinner finish. And people do say that thinner finishes let the guitar breathe more as well. Obviously, structurally, we're using the hide glue and all these things as well. I'll put the specs on the screen, and you can also go to the Martin website to see the full specs for this guitar. But it's basically a replica of those guitars, obviously not using the materials that are no longer available, like Brazilian rosewood. But everything else is basically what it would have been back in the day. And I think you can really hear it. I'm not saying that all vintage guitars are amazing. I've played some that blew me away. I've played one or two that didn't, but maybe it's the strings, maybe it's the room in my ears, I don't know. But the main thing with this guitar, apart from all that, is the neck. The neck was really scary for me. I was really worried about it because I played the 1937 example at the Martin Guitar Museum and it was really fat. And yet the one I played in a guitar store, a vintage Martin, was a very thin neck down here. Now this neck is very thin here. Very, very thin there. I love it. It's really comfortable for me. Of course, as you go up, it gets quite fat and there's no adjustable truss rod. So bear that in mind. But the action is really fantastic. But it gets rather fat as you go up in like a sort of a V shape. And yet, I still find it really comfortable. Now, with a lot of guitars, I don't find this. A lot of guitars with the V-necks, like Strats and things like that, I find really uncomfortable. But there's something really at home about this neck. I just feel really at home with it. I feel really comfortable down here. As I go up, I still feel like my hand, although it's physically fatter, my hand fits really well. Now I have big hands because I'm 6'5", bear that in mind, but I'm really impressed, and I also feel very lucky with this neck. I really thought I was going to get a kind of dull sounding vintage guitar with a fat neck I didn't like, but the specs and the mojo I thought would carry me through. That's not the case. I actually love the neck and I love the sound. Let's do some playing and I'll talk to you about the tone next. So these are 13 gauge strings. I'm not used to that, but despite that, they feel quite easy to play. With time, I'm sure I can bend them and play them much better. They also add to the tone, of course, because 13 gauge strings will sound fatter. But the tone is interesting for me. I've played so many Martins now, and if you watch my reviews on the channel, this is what I've discovered about the standard series. The D28, when I reviewed it, really impressed me, but it has a very kind of focused mid sound because it's non-scallop bracing, where this is scallop bracing. And I said in my review, that's great if you want that punch in the face, those single note lines, right? Things like this. They really jump out in a D28. They really jump out. And then the HD28 I found more scooped, I presume because of the scallop bracing. And I really like that for strumming. And that's kind of where I was at. I said the D28 is great for the single note runs, the HD28 is great for strumming, but I honestly found the HD28 a bit weak at times, a bit too scooped. I used to say I wish I could have it slightly less scalloped, right? But let me tell you this guitar actually kind of fixes both of those things. I find it has a ton of focus and volume and punch and clarity, which I really like. In the past, people have said that I like bright guitars, or I've said I like bright guitars as well. I don't mean bright as in lots of treble. I mean punch and clarity and cut. When you play the chord, does it project right to the back of the room like this? So this does that in spades. If you A-B this with another guitar, like I've got an HD C28 with an anthem in it and a cutaway, it really doesn't project anywhere near as this guitar does. So I find this to be the perfect in-between, and I love that. Not just in-between, kind of in-between and then up a notch. That's how it is to me. It's great for single note lines. It's great for strumming. And it's not just louder, but everything is louder. But not boomy. I was worried it would be really boomy and bassy and just overpowering and muddy. It's not. It's very articulate. It's like everything is focused and refined and articulate. Those kind of words. Not muddy, bassy, boomy. Not those. It's got this clarity. It's got this sound I've just never heard in many other guitars. Now, is it perfect? Will it do everything for me? No, because it has no electronics and it has a long glued-in saddle. Bear in mind, I believe all these things like the glued-in saddle adds to the tone. I do buy into that, but it also means it's very hard to add a pickup. For example, it would be very difficult to add an LR Baggs Anthem here because the saddle is glued in. You could add a K&K, but I don't want to add glue into this guitar. I want to keep this as it is. So lately I've been using the Cole Clark or the Acoustasonic for gigs because they amplify so well. And then this, my plan for this is to record with it, write with it, live stream with it, and keep it as it is. Because this just does one thing, and it does it really, really well. So if you're looking for an authentic, then you should consider this. Check out Sweetwater. I have affiliate links below. Full disclaimer, I do have affiliate links with Sweetwater, but I've also been a customer of theirs for almost 10 years now. They're a really great dealer, probably my favorite dealer in the USA. These are not that easy to find. There's not many authentics around, simply because obviously they take longer to make and they're not a standard series instrument, but they can be found if you search around or contact Sweetwater and ask them if they can get one in stock. Also, Martin tend to release different authentics at different times. If you want a smaller body guitar, I believe there's also a 0028 authentic as well. Overall, super excited with this guitar. I wanted an heirloom guitar. I wanted to go straight to the top, stop messing around with buying and selling the D28, the HD28, D35s. I just wanted to go up and get what I would consider, when I go to the Martin Museum, the historical Martin guitar. Again, I'm not knocking the new ones. They have their place. And if you want one of those for that particular tone and to amplify and things like that, I do recommend them, definitely. But this is a cut above. This is just something that I haven't played before. Now, maybe other builders make guitars like this, and maybe I'll play some in the future. I hope that I do. But I'm really, really impressed with this. And despite being expensive, it's basically the cost of, say, 2 HD28s, and I think it is as good as 2 HD28s. So I'm very happy with it. So is there anything that I don't like about the guitar? Well, actually there's 2 things, but not necessarily deal breakers. Maybe not. First things first, the case. The case is very well made and looks vintage, but it has a latch on the bottom of the case. So if you try to stand it upright, which I know you shouldn't do in case it falls over, but if you do try to do that in a closet or something like that, the latch is actually digging into the ground, digging into the case, and might break. I don't like the case. I'd rather have one of the regular custom shop cases myself, but there we go. I'm not going to change it because it's the case that comes with the guitar and I want to keep everything original. And then the second thing is, it doesn't smell that great. It has a smell. Let's say it has a vintage smell, but it doesn't have the smell of a standard series Martin fresh from the factory floor. This could be a problem for me because, as you know from the channel, I am the Soundhole Sniffer. If you like the shirt, you can buy them at the link down below. Thank you for supporting Soundhole Sniffers Anonymous. But there's not much smell. And the smell that is there is kind of vintage. I think maybe when they were relicking the tuners and relicking the body, they thought, okay, we need to go in there and relic the inside of the guitar. And they sucked the smell away to make it smell more like a vintage Martin. What do you think? I better ask Martin if they do that or not. They might think I'm crazy, or crazier than I already am. All right, so anyway, thanks for watching. You'll be seeing this guitar more on the channel because it's going to be staying around, of course. And I'd love to know what you think. Do you own a vintage Martin? Have you played vintage Martins? Do you prefer modern Martins? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments, as long as they're constructive. I'd love to chat in the comments with you. And please join me on a live stream soon so we can discuss things as well. We can also discuss this guitar and other guitars and other gear as well. So until next time, take care and be well. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.